How we doing? Keeping it real. .tv here today. It's me, Bryan, one of your hosts, and Jeff. And we want to come back. We haven't been on here in about a week and a half, ever since the real estate bar camp, which was very successful. And again, I think we put a post on there, but thanks to everybody involved with that. So, what's new, Jeff?
Nothing.
Nothing? We came back to give you some good dose of nothing from Jeff. So, I got a few things I want to talk about today. So I thought I'd roll with that and let you know what's going on in the mortgage industry, because we're a little bit about real estate, mortgages, and technology. So since May 1st, I'm going to talk about something that rolled out. HVCC, Home Valuation Code of Conduct, has come out for appraisals, and it's kind of made my industry a little tougher. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay. Fannie and Freddie have implemented that they want all of our appraisals to no longer be influenced by mortgage brokers. So we have to now retain and use a third-party entity that's going to handle ordering the appraisals. So it's a good thing, I think, because the idea of the broker calling up an appraiser and saying, hey, I know the house is worth $250, I need $290, or the deal's going to die, is going to go away. But where it's kind of creating a headache, I went to a conference last week. I spent 10 hours at some continued ed, and we spent 3 hours talking about this. Where it's kind of frustrating is I can't talk to the appraiser at all. And sometimes you do kind of need to say to an appraiser, hey, this is kind of the range I think I'm going to be in, or can you give me a little feedback? Yeah, and you've got to explain it to them. So here's where it comes in handy is in a purchase, I don't think it's going to be as a big a deal, but I think it's going to kill a lot of refis. And I don't say that because I'm trying to do refis for homes that the values are, I'm looking for a higher value, but basically to me, I'll have somebody call me and say, I think my house is worth $200. I'll go through all the legwork to get it done, and then I have to order the appraisal. I can't call the appraiser and say, hey, do you think this house is going to be in the 200 range, or just kind of get an idea. I can't even tell them I think the house is around 200. I just send it out and it comes back, and I have to pay $500 to get it done now, regardless. It comes back and it's worth $150. There's no deal there at all. My borrower's mad.
Right, before like one call and you could have been like, oh, it's not worth 200, nowhere near.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, before, an appraiser of mine would just even call and give me a courtesy call and say, hey, I'm only going to charge you half of this appraisal fee because we've gone out there and I don't think it's going to be anywhere close. So one thing, though, that I thought was interesting is, so I'm kind of on the fence on it. I think it's good to kind of police the industry, but I think what's frustrating is that there just can't be any communication. So one thing that I thought was good is one broker said at the conference, he said, I think this is horrible, it's destroying our industry. How come I can't call up a broker or an appraiser and just say, hey, you know, I'm just curious what the value might be. And he made a good comment, and he said, this is just the cost of doing business. Appraisers are professionals. Their opinion should be paid for. And he had a good comment. He said, it's just, he goes, you've got other resources to look for values. You've got Zillow, you've got the different online title company sites that give you AVMs. He said, but think of it as if you woke up in the morning and you're like this. You woke up in the morning, you had a big lump on the side of your chest, and it hurts to touch. And you think to yourself, I wonder if this is bad.
Like this one?
Yeah, kind of like that. And you think to yourself, I wonder if this is bad. I wonder if this is bad. I could go to WebMD and look at it, and I could kind of decide if it's bad or not, or I could go see my doctor. Well, if I'm going to go see my doctor, it's going to cost $65. You know that's what's going to cost, and you're not going to bitch to go in and have your doctor say, it's nothing, don't worry about it, or yes, you need to get it looked at. In his opinion, that's how an appraisal should be kind of looked at now. If you want to know if you should go get it looked at or not, he goes, that's why you go online to these different services and kind of get an idea. But you're going to need to pay money now if you want a professional opinion of what it's actually worth. And he was an appraiser for 20 years before he started working for the state. But
well, so here's my take on this, because when I worked at Wells Fargo, we had that system in place, and that was 7 years ago or 5.
Oh, you did?
6 or whatever it was. Yeah, and so we had both systems in place, and it depended on what kind of loan you were doing, I think. And there was one loan that I had to use that system, and there was a rebuttal process where I could dispute the original appraisal, and they would.
We could do that.
Do it. So yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that. But the problem I had was, I ordered the appraisal, and I had the customer was like 800 FICO score. Everything was it was a beautiful loan, and he sent me pictures of the house and everything. It's just a gorgeous house, and he says worth $800,000 roughly, whatever. everything I had online telling me about the same, 750 to 850, whatever. Appraisal comes back and it was like 600,000. I couldn't even call the lady, who was a lady,
Yeah.
from the area, and I couldn't even call her and say,
Why did you use
why?
these comps?
What do you, what's the deal?
Yeah.
So reading through the appraisal, she's missing a bunch of stuff, and I'm having to explain this to the client. I'm having to then do the rebuttal process, which took like another 2 weeks, and it was a pain in the ass. But I don't even know the point of my story. It was just a pain in the ass.
Well,
I guess is the point. But
I think that's the main point. Is it's just going to be a pain in the ass.
and I agree with from the appraiser side of things. He doesn't care because he's getting paid no matter what. So of course the appraisers are probably going to love this.
No, this is even worse. This is where the appraisers don't like it. So now, this is going to be longer than we anticipated, but now you've got these players that are these third-party companies that have a pool.
Mhm.
I order an appraisal, and it's supposed to be a round robin. I have no idea who's in the pool.
Mhm.
These companies, as big as they are, they're making a profit.
Right.
They're calling the appraisers and saying, hey, Jeff Bernheisel, do you want in our pool? Yeah, I want in your pool because I know you work with Wells and Bank of America. Okay, great. I know you charge $400 for an appraisal, but we're only going to pay you $300 because we got to
Because
keep
they're
our.
keeping-
We're going to make $100 off of this.
Right.
And you say, well, I charge $4, and they're like, well, then you're not in our pool. Well, now I've heard that appraisers are complaining that they're having to take it on the lip and lower their fees just to be in this pool,
Yeah.
which sucks. And another reason I don't
But
like
it's free leads at the
it,
same
it
time.
is free leads at the same time. But another reason I kind of have an issue with it right away is I just did a loan for a company, or I'm doing a loan right now with Chase. And this I was able to have an appraisal done by somebody because I did it before May 1st when this started. And when I submitted the loan, it turned out that the company as a whole, 3 or 4 of the appraisers were approved with Chase, but the one girl in the office who got my order and sent it back to me and we pushed it off to them, she's blackballed from this company because she was associated with a bad file years ago with someone else. So it's the story I hear. So now I had to go back and order another appraisal through somebody else that's approved on their list. So in my mind, I started thinking, what if I didn't know that this girl was on, I'm not going to know who the appraiser is.
Right.
They don't know which investor I'm going to send it to. How do I know for sure that the appraiser that I get will be approved with the investor I'm going to send it to? What's my recourse if that's not going to happen? So I think it's good. I'm on the fence. I have no problem with it because I don't do loans where I'm really trying to stretch value, blah, blah, blah. But I still think
It's just gonna
that
be like
even
that.
the average guy like me, I'm going to have issues with it.
1 out of 10 deals is going to be totally screwed up.
Totally
from
screwed
it,
up.
and
Totally
it's-
screwed up. The loan software that we use also, there's like Point and Compass and things like that, effective next year, they're deleting the line where you put in the value of the home, expected value of the home. Still do it on a purchase, but you can't do it on a refi. So if it's a refi, because normally you'd send an appraisal order over and the software would automatically tell it what your expected value is. So they're really eliminating that field. So HVCC, Home Valuation Code of Conduct, that's my take on that. Kind of like it, kind of don't. So, didn't know if you heard about that.